Hey guys, this is Jocelyn from Fantasia Elegance with another wire wrap jewelry tutorial for you. In light of Christmas being right around the corner, I thought it would be fun to show you how to make these pair of Celtic inspired Christmas tree earrings. So you can see one style here and another with a crystal added, which is what I'll be showing you to make today. So before we get started, if you could please take a few moments to read the description for all the tools and materials you'll be needing. And as always, I put there what brands of tools I'm using and where I get my wire, because those seem to be very frequently asked questions. So once you've taken a look at that, we'll jump right in and get started. So the first thing we're going to do is take your piece of 21 gauge wire. Again, either 20 gauge or 22 gauge would also work if you don't have 21. And I've said this before, but it bears repeating. I give the minimum requirements for wire length. If this is the first time you're making this design, I always recommend you give yourself a little bit of a buffer and add on some extra wire, just so you don't come up short at the end if you happen to make your shapes slightly larger than I do. So the first thing we're doing is just bending our piece of 21 gauge wire straight in half. And we're going to overlap the two ends here, and we're making a very tight little teardrop shape down here. I'm just using my round nose pliers to make that as small as I can get it reasonably. Then we're going to make two more little teardrop shapes going at right angles to the one we just did. So there's one, and doing the same thing with our other piece of wire. We have our second little teardrop. And you want these to be all the same size and shape. And you want these two lines of wire right here, if I can get a little closer, you want these to be parallel to each other. So I'm going to pull that one out a little bit. And you want to have a sort of diamond-shaped space in between the four wires crossing each other right here. Now we're going to repeat this, except it's a little bit different. I'm going to leave a bit of a space right here and start taking these ends out like this with a gentle curve. Doing the same thing on the other side. So that our two ends are making a straight line now, again with a bit of a space right here. And going back to my round nose pliers, we're going to do the same thing, making a loop here, except we're going to make this one just a smidge longer than the one above it. Just like that, and doing the same thing on the other side. And again, as before, we're making a sort of diamond shape in between where all these wires cross, and we're making these two lines right here parallel to each other. Same thing on the back, with these running parallel. And we're just going to make one more row of branches. So again, leaving a space right here, I'm going to bend the two tails out so that they make a line. And as before, making this row of loops a little bit longer than the previous one. I'm going to loop this around on both sides. and refine it with my chain nose pliers. So there we go, we have all our branches done. Now we're just going to use these two ends to make a little bit of a trunk, if you will. So for this part you need 2 pairs of chain nose pliers. With one pair, you're going to grip right above where these wires cross, making sure that you have good contact with both of the wires. This is very important because we're going to start twisting these and want to make sure that it doesn't deform the branches we just made. So I'm very tightly stabilizing it above that X shape. And taking my second pair of chain nose pliers, I'm going to twist this around twice. Just like that. Once you have your twisting done, you can safely release your tree and make sure that it's all still nice and flat. And now we simply have to do something with these 2 little ends here. I'm just going to trim them so that they're both the same length. And taking my round nose pliers one more time, I'm going to make a very tight loop, just curling this right up towards the trunk. And same thing with the other side. If I can get a grip on it. So there we go. We have a little Celtic Christmas tree charm. Very simple to make. Adding on your bead, of course, is just a matter of taking one of your pieces of 24 gauge wire, and we're going to make a wrapped loop about 1/3 of the way up on this. We're basically just making a wrapped loop connector between the Christmas tree and the ear wire. So I'm going to slide that on and close up my loop here. Just going to wrap the tail around here tightly. And snugging it down at the end there. Then you can slide on your 4mm bead, just like so. And for the top loop here, we want to make it perpendicular to the previous one. So that the front of your tree is facing forward, not the side of it. And taking your choice of ear wire, just go ahead and slide that on. And we're going to do the same thing to close this up. And once you've made as many wraps as you can, simply trim off the excess little tail there. And you can squeeze it all down with your chain nose pliers. Just like so. So there you go. As you can see, these look really cute with all sorts of different colors of crystals and simply plain. So I hope you enjoyed this holiday tutorial and have fun making these little Christmas trees. I appreciate you watching, and if you have a few moments, liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Also, if you're of a mind, you can visit my Etsy shop and Facebook page. The links are in the description below. I would greatly appreciate that. And please let me know in the comment section below how you enjoyed this tutorial, if you have any questions on making it, and ideas for future projects you might like to see. I am planning to do a snowflake pendant in the near future, so you can stay tuned for that. So as always, thanks for watching, and happy crafting!